We're still accessing 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We've looked at human rights, we've looked at the economy, and now it's time to look at the political structure, as we've seen that it might seem that the political map is being redrawn. The ruling APC is tightening its grip, boosted by high-profile defections and early moves to secure 2027. Meanwhile, the opposition seems to be fragmented with internal rifts, weak structures, and urgent calls for unity. There's growing concerns over a one-party system within the political party crisis and the uprising of coalition movements. Now let's take an overview of where the ruling party stands and whether it has done well enough to be considered for a second term, looking forward and following some of the endorsements given to the president in the past few weeks. We're joined this morning by the convener of the alternative movement, Otumba Segun Shomi. Good morning, good to have you. Happy 2 years anniversary.
Well, it's nice to see you guys. Good morning.
I don't respond happy 2 years back to me.
I'd rather we said happy 26th year anniversary of democracy.
Okay.
Because under that context, one can say at least we've had a stable democracy. But if you wanted me to say happy 2 years anniversary, the question I'll ask you is, what am I celebrating?
Okay. Now let's talk about what you might be celebrating, the political scene. And, you know, there have been a lot of movements and defections from your party to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Again, the conversation about Nigeria being a one-party state or likely inching to a one-party state has come up. But there have been people who have spoken about, even the president himself has said these people are not being forced to come to the party, and they're very welcome to the party. We've seen Ganduje speak about it as well. But let's get your thoughts on how politics is being run, and if you share those same sentiments or concerns about Nigeria inching closer to a one-party state.
First of all, I think that the number of people decamping is a bit exaggerated because you haven't done the numbers, you haven't counted.
And you haven't left.
And wait a minute, you haven't done the numbers and you haven't counted. We created a certain type of democracy in 1999. And one of the consequences of the type of democracy we created is what is now beginning to stare us in the eyes. What is that? Rather than accept that political parties are the vehicles and the owners of the suffrage of election, we inadvertently created a cult of human personality, such that if the first party, my party, won in 1999, the political inflections and attitude resembled the character of Olusegun Obasanjo. And when we passed the baton, with its own consequences, when we passed the baton to Yar'Adua, fortunately it didn't live so long, then it went to Jonathan. The political inflection and attitude began to resemble the character of Jonathan, with his own inflections and advantage. Then after 15 years, 16 years, for reasons best known to the APC, in democracy, they opted again for a cult of human personality and transferred power to a former military officer whose only life is being a military officer as the leader of the new democratic movement called APC. And that then brought another, its own consequence and its own attitude. Now we have, of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Their party, never mind the fact that it was some form of coalition, now resembles the inflection and the attitude of Bola Tinubu. And if you flip it to the opposition, when they all left the party in 2015 because of the loss, never mind that people jump around in Nigeria, for the same reason I told you, we had a Wiki who stood by and supported the party, so somehow they copied some attitude because of his own character, attitude and inflection. Then Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, got the ticket in 2019 and 2023. See, there's nothing wrong with our democracy. It's us that something is wrong with. And it's not us as in the younger ones. It is that generation of men who, in my opinion, seem to be mismanaging the sacrifice of Shehu Musa Yar'Adua. And I'll tell you why. It was Shehu Musa Yar'Adua after the election of, what's it called, Shagari, when it got destroyed by the Buhari regime and all that. He was the one who was of the view that, look, since Nigeria became an independent country in 1960, all efforts to have us have politics that will cut across ethnicity wasn't working. So he gathered young people, Atiku, Bola Tinubu, a lot of young people of that generation. They were young. And he said to them, all the politics of our country is too tribal. Let us now build a bridge across both the Niger and the Benue, so that perhaps this country will not resemble the politics of Azikwe is Igbo, Obafemi is Yoruba, and that kind of thing. That experiment started. June 12 happened. June 12 provided the energy for that experiment now to now be, people demanded.
NRCSD.
With this experiment, because Abiola won, whatever, will this experiment work only when it favors the North? And that threw the country into another direction until we now got to 1999. And the experiment seems to have worked because we have agreed psychologically that there's a pendulum. If it swings to the North, it's 8 years. If it swings to the South, it's 8 years. An accident of life, somebody died, happened with Yaradua. We then created a great opportunity for the South-South, which had been crying that they can't be the one producing all the resources and not be able to. Luckily, Obasanjo was wise enough to have put somebody there, Jonathan, who then became
the president.
And that then gave us the opportunity to say, we don't have that kind of huge agitation from Mr. But we have a Southeastern agitation. What are we going to do with it? So at the 2-year mark of the president, anybody who tells you that they are going to create a one-party state is just a very lazy person. There are 93 million registered voters, collected PVC 80-something million. Of that 80-something million, you know that over 4 years, 3 generations of people, the ones that were 16, that were 17, the ones that were 16, and the ones that were 15, will be migrated into the election pool. You know that, right? So that means that some people would have died, but the numbers would, plus or minus, we have a young population, median age of more. You'll be more, that's right. Median age of our country is about maybe 17 plus. So that means that every 5 years or every 4 years, we can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can somebody that is serious be screaming and shouting, one party state, one party state, because the president today is in charge? Okay, even if you want to look at his numbers, Mr. President, happy anniversary to you. He had a couple of governors, maybe 22. Then Wiki and the gang, 5 of them, including Sheyi, that is not trying to be clever by half, they all decided that they are not going to support their own party. Under normal circumstances, if they are not copied that terrible attitude I mentioned, would it even have been visible for them to say that? And had the party been run by somebody that is a little bit aware,
there will be sanctions.
No. Would they even have been allowed to retain their own tickets? So you don't want to support a candidate, oh, well, that's fine. Please go and look for tickets elsewhere. Exactly. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
The party managers in their beyond madness, imagine that there was a conversation on the table that can tolerate that you will say you are in our party, but you are not supporting our candidate, and we're supporting
openly.
You. Openly. Well, even if it is not openly. You see, what I'm trying to tell you, my friends, is that this democracy is 26 years. We can accept that the generation of men that carried down the Yaradua experiment, they have gotten to their peak. One of them is the president now, and therefore we can say, okay, human nature, everything considered, that experiment has worked to an extent. But we are now at a point, after 25 years, a quarter of a century, over by 26, we are at a point where we must rethink the democracy. Otherwise, we're going to be in a perpetual state of anger. When a government comes and says, this is my policy, you may not accept the policy, but you cannot begrudge them what the consequences of their policy will mean. If you say, I'm going to remove subsidy, for instance, what other drama is there other than removing it? When you remove the subsidy, it simply means there's going to be some knock-on effect on policy. Now, if you now double down by saying, okay, that's one problem I've solved. Another problem is that this currency fluctuation and all, I want to stop going to borrow money to back currency. If you do that, it will produce some consequences That is the necessary consequence of a market-driven economy, which you all say you are going to run. I have always said, what you call the market, capitalism, rent-seeking and all that, is just one system of government. A nation like ours must run a mixed ideological drive towards sustaining the living standard and the minimum safety net of the citizens while you are doing the market economy. And if you are looking for where to find an example, go to China. Because they started out by wanting to be 100% protected, and then they started opening. Russia opened up immediately, they are still struggling. China did incremental opening up, and a big country. So I think that generation, the generation of men that have been reading us, they are the same ones the ones that caused us the problem of June 12. They are the same ones that did 1999. They are the same ones that did 2007. They are the ones that did 11. They are the same ones that jump and did 2015. They are the same ones that came and did 2019. They are doing, and then they want to tell us they want to do 2027. So we tell them no, enough.
I don't really believe that no would hold water. This no that you're saying, because even this, you talk about the median age of young people. I'm sorry, Benga. You talk about the median age of young people in Nigeria being, about 17, and you're saying we have a younger population every 4 years. There seems to be a growing discontent amongst younger people.
Yes.
So do you see them really being able to come together, put their voices together?
Why do you think I started the alternative? I sat down and I reflected and I researched. And I came to the conclusion that if we're not careful, we're going to go to war with ourselves in this country. Because how long can you keep young people down, especially when you lace it with tribalism? How long can you do an election and you are gaslighting people? My beloved Yoruba people, during the 2023 election, and for the benefit of my friends that are non-Yorubas, I ran all over media, radio in our language, saying, no, you can't do this. Southwest, you cannot do this. Others can get away with it. But you, Southwest, you have to understand that you cannot be a cosmopolitan environment and be insisting that your tribal jargons is going to be the basis that you're going to be making people uncomfortable. It's like saying that you are in London and your daughter can be, and as God will have it. Because I'm a bit of a prophet, really. The God came in Badana. So if you are a people that can go to other people's country and try, you might be a bit irritated. You can try to make sure that, okay, why do we not do cultural assimilation? Why do we have to imagine that our culture is static? If the new Yoruba land now includes our Igbo friends, our Hausa friends, and our whatever, all the tribes that are coming here because they feel they can do well here, why don't we try to say, all of you that are in Lagos, using Lagos as an example, now stop this nonsense. Let us create a Lagosian tribe. So that we can say, this is what it means to be a Lagosian. And that Lagosian doesn't necessarily have to be Yoruba alone. It will be, I can teach them. These people are very, very unintelligent. You can do a double blind survey to find out what do all Lagosians demand as their 4 basic important things that makes them happy in Lagos. Then you will create a narrative, a marketing narrative of those 4 things that cuts across, and then you say, this is what it means to be a Lagosian. I am a Lagosian. An Igbo person to say, I am a Lagosian. The Hausa man say, I am a Lagosian. Then you can say, this is what it means. These are the responsibilities that makes you a Lagosian. Then you will create a tribe out of Lagos. But if you want to be a cosmopolitan environment, the 4th largest economy in Africa, and you are going to be bringing Oro to irritate the people that are carrying some of the...
It's very pedestrian.
No. It's the same. Oh God, Mr. President. I think the problem we have in this country, really, including the democracy and all, is that we have not accepted, you people, brilliant people, have not accepted that there is no us versus them. You need brilliant people, intelligent people, smart people, driven people. You cannot be onlookers in the political space. You got to get involved, because unless you can create a critical mass of people who want value, who want better things, how do you then expect this kind of charlatans to run parties? How would you ever make it? If I were running a party and you said you wanted to go for maybe House of Assembly or House of Rep, I'll be excited because you can even speak the kind of language they speak there. But if I sent you to them, if they are not asking for your skirt, they're going to probably be giving you stress. But unless we come involved, we will not create the otherwise, one last one,
yes,
the Nigerian nation will evolve at its own natural order and pace, and nobody should irritate each other only because of group irresponsibility.
Fantastic. Now let's talk about alternative movement, your organization. You highlighted the problems of Nigeria from generation to generation. I mean, there was a time Alfred Dieter Spieth was governor at 25.
Absolutely.
General Yakubu Gowon was president as a bachelor, and there's Anthony Enahoro was a commissioner, was a minister in his 30s. There's so many examples, but you look at the present day modern Nigeria, if he gets an SE appointment at 40, that's almost the peak of his career.
So what's the question?
They're very happy. The question is this, there's no point crying over spilled milk. We've done
enough of that.
Enough of that.
That's why I started
it. Alternative movement, what practical steps can we take to reverse this? And there's also a critical mass of people who don't even know any better. You know, they're left from right. So where do you begin the re-education from?
Okay, let me first of all do the re-education, and I go to the alternative. I was with the leaders of the Chinese system in Nigeria. I went to engage them. We agreed that we'll have an engagement, and so they sent some high-level people there. And I asked them, China, are you really sure you are not cooking the books? And they said, what do I mean? If you say you have lifted about 700 people out of poverty in 10 years, I'm not really convinced you've done that, you know. I feel that statistics can be crooked, and you can be pushing those statistics to make us in Africa look useless, but I don't think you've done that. You know what they told me? They said, well, they've done that. I said, okay, if I go to the village in China, your villages, will your people be happy? Would I meet them? Will I meet happy people? Will I meet them happy? They kept quiet. What's the point I'm trying to make? For us to be the kind of nation we want to be, the most critical thing, in my opinion, we need now is enlightenment. If anybody asks me to come and join this government, let me tell you one story. When we were doing 2019 and Atiku was trying to be president, I always kept telling myself that do I want to be in this people's government? You know why? I hate psychophancy around leaders. I hate the idea that the leader is seated and everybody's just standing on one after the other and talking nonsense. And I know me. So I said to myself, that, will I even be happy? Okay, maybe they should go and let them win if they want to win. They go and do their thing and just not disturb me. I can't be explaining every day. I want to tell the man, Mr. Man, you are doing the wrong thing. I have to be looking for, I don't have time. So one person asked me, okay, you are working so hard. Where do you want to be? Then I thought about it. I said, you know, okay. He said, what? National Orientation Agency. The guy looked at me, there's no money. I said, don't worry, there's no money. He said, why? I said, because unless we understand that the business of creating a culture for the Nigerian people that all Nigerians can accept will constantly not move. So for you to be able to do that, you can't flog them, you can't kill them, you need to work very hard at orientating them, and then you put consequence. If you did that, maybe after about a few years, we'll create a culture of people who are all looking in the same direction. The problem we have the Nigerian nation now, they want to score as jokers. People who are not an inch as clever as him are scoring him. They're only envious. If you had given them that country at the time you give them, more than likely they would not even do half of what is doing. Or if they did, it would be the same model. You know why? Because free market economy and economic capitalization driving policy produces the same type of actions and the same kind of result. Is he the most efficient? Of course not. But within their generation of neither here nor there people, maybe. Do I think they are doing well on the economy and the Nigerian people, are they being well covered? Of course the answer is no. I've always insisted, and I still insist, both Cardoso and Edu are fourth-rate economic thinkers. Let me repeat. Both Cardoso and Edu are fourth-rate economic thinkers.
But their CV says so.
Listen, my friend, what do you call CV? The whole concept of even bringing them into school to come and educate them is so that we can manipulate them to run according to the ideas of the people that have captured them. Listen, if you are not a fourth-rate economic player, the first question that should worry you is that Why is the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer? What are we going to do about that? That will send you in a particular direction of what we need to do. If you are not a fourth-rate economy player, the question you're going to ask is, okay, yes, they did arbitrage with money. Can I see the books, please? Who got what? Where? How? Who did you get the money? Come and explain. If you are not a fourth-rate economy player, are you not going to ask yourself that when you boast about and say you are building the economy, are you not going to dominate it back to the exchange rate you had when we gave it to you? In 2015, when we were handing over Nigeria to these jokers, the exchange rate was $1.99 to $1. It is 1,600 plus now, 1,500, whatever. 1,006. If you discount it, you're going to ask yourself, what is exciting you guys? Then when you are a people that you don't even want to engage brilliant people to talk about the important things, you are going to be cooking the data. If IMF says Nigeria is doing well, you start with that. If IMF says Nigeria is doing well, does that mean we're doing well? If IMF says Nigeria is not doing well, does that mean we're not doing well? We should be the one that know whether the fundamentals of our economy is doing well or is not doing well.
Just like we saw in the NBS when they released the statement, and then later on it was as if they retracted their statement.
You know the problem? The problem is, and actually with due respect to you, I think his biggest problem is that he micromanages too much. Let me tell you what happened with a micromanager. A micromanager is somebody that puts a team together like this, like four of us. You have one responsibility, you have one responsibility, you have one responsibility, but because he's a micromanager, he will not allow you to go and do it the way he will help you to do your own. He will help you to, and because there's only 24 hours in a day for a president, he's going to end up only alienating some of. I can tell you for free, a good number of his ministers don't even feel like they are doing as well. Only a few, gangsters.
In what ways has he been a micromanager?
Okay, God will bless you. Tell me, how many ministers does he have? Which of them do you, the Nigerian people, get the impression that they're doing as they should?
David Devine?
Works?
Yes, one.
Yes, on Wiki.
Two.
That's all.
Tunji.
You must be joking.
He slowed down.
No, please, with due respect, what is the guy in power doing? What's the guy in telecommunication? Oh God, what a country. Telecommunication is one thing that we in PDP succeeded in giving all Nigerians. And these people cannot even ensure that since nobody can say they are taking the benefit of the benefit we gave them, if the price is low, it belongs to your citizens. They don't even have the decency to make sure that, one, people can get efficient service, two, people can get some kind of subsidy in terms of the pricing. For them, everything is for profit. Now, when you want to do for profit, there's nothing wrong with that. The question you are going to ask, which I asked the Brazilian president, when we're talking, I said, sir, with due respect, sir, do you know that the African people, the slaves, were the one that built the backbone of your economy? He looked at me. I said, we did. That's what history says. They are in Bahia, they are here, they are here. Then I said, your economy is doing very well. You are doing well. You are now BRICS. I asked him pointedly, Lola, have we and you been put on this earth so you will be doing well and we will just be clapping for you? Mm-hmm. A leader must be interested in the emancipation of his own people. Every other thing is rubbish. If you don't, look.
Go on, show me, just to play the devil's advocate.
Oh yeah, please.
Now, the handlers of the APC watching this interview will say, wow, this man is just firing shots at
I'm not firing shots at them, I'm firing shots at the nation.
At the nation, yes. And that if you have so much brilliant ideas and you engage and you keep saying, we, the PDP, did this and that, why is your party in the state it is today?
Well, you see, it's like a child that is growing old. For the life of an organization, 26 years is old. You know, it's like the life of a cat. After about 26 years, you know, my problem with PDP is that in 2011, let me share this joke with you. In 2011, Daniel and Co said they were leaving to go and do PPN. The people who like to jump here, jump there. Myself and Chief Shodipara, we had the responsibility of managing the election for Jonathan. I became the DG. Before then, I was only interested on the policy side. I was not interested in the nuances of party management. But that responsibility of DG fell on me for Ogun State, Jonathan Sambo. And after we started doing the election, you know what I saw? I started banging the table, code red, code red, code red. The fundamentals by which this political party is going, we need to reform it since 2011. Couldn't I tell? By 2015, let me give you, oh, my friend of blessed memory, may you live well, may God forgive your sins. His name is Brian by the South African. A good 12 months before that election, he called me. He said, you know, it's not in Nigeria. I said, Shine. I said, what's up? He said, you guys are losing, you know. I said, we're losing, why? He said, you're going to lose. So I started begging him, what can we do? He said, no, I won't teach you until after you've lost. After we lost that 2015 election, who didn't I call? And I started begging him, okay, please come and teach me why we lost. Why should it be easy for a president to sit in the villa, give Almajiri children education, do this, do that, and we'll still lose? When he opened it up and started showing me how these things are done properly, how science drives narrative, how science drives decision, how science drives day of the vote. You know what I said? I said, it's true, we lost. I've been speaking to my party since then. Right. You know the problem? They believe that every election, let me explain it. They feel that, okay, you know, we lost 2015, right? Yes. Instead of them to reform, they felt that no, we'll do it in 2019. We lost. Then they said, oh, we're going to do it in 2023. They lost. Now we're 2022 years. Wait, that's not how. Sometimes an organization must accept the need for a great review, must bring in change management experts, and we have them. I can recommend.
I mean, they say that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
That's what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing. And that's why you see that. But please, on the final note, please, that does not mean that in terms of who loves the Nigerian people, that does not mean that we cannot clamp our chest and say, we love the Nigerian people. Because truly and sincerely, all of these things you have, reforming the economy, reforming the telecom, reforming the communication, all of these things were our gifts to this nation. And if President Tinubu on a passing shot, it's 2 years already, if he must get his job done, he needs to get us a reformed judiciary. We can't have a nation where people don't trust their judges. Whatever we need to do, we need to clean that. All right. The second thing he needs to do, he needs to give us an INEC that can do an election and we can accept outcome.
And we can trust the results. I mean, time is never enough to speak with you, Otumba.
Okay, it's always a pleasure around you guys. You guys drag me from all over. You drag me from all over.
Thank you. Thank you for always obliging us. And this is how we wrap up today's show. Thank you very much for joining us. This time last year, my brand new nephew was born to the world. So happy birthday, Jeremy. I will never forget May 27th now because of
happy birthday, Mama Chairman Party. Is one of my very lovely support women in Kano. Mama Chairman Party.
Happy birthday to Mama Chairman Party. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today on Breakfast Central. Have a wonderful day.